Salute, my Quickclassics friends, and welcome to another episode of Quickclassics on this Wednesday, July the 21st, 2021. As always, if you like the content, please click a like, subscribe, and share. It does help the channel. And today we'll be talking about Saturn, and this is a follow-up not only to um, the recent View from the Bunker that I did with Derek, but it's one that I'd been sort of meaning to do for a while. But it just so happens that it dovetails with some of the research that Derek Gilbert is doing on the god Saturn. And so, without further ado, um, Saturn is a Roman noumena, one of the Roman gods, the elder gods, often conflated with the Greek Kronos. Um, there's a possibility that Saturn is the oldest of the Roman gods, and of course that would jibe with the sort of Titan conflation on the on the Greek side, and that may be true if we're to believe some of what Livy tells us in his history of early Rome, at least the volumes that we have. And um, always want to take Livy with at least a grain of salt. A lot of the stuff is borne out, but uh, again, uh, uh, Saturn is the Roman god of plenty, of wealth, of agriculture, of um, kind of spans of time in some cases, and liberality. And again, all of these qualities sort of jibe with the Greek Kronos. And Saturn remained a very important deity to the Romans. Um, his temple, his chief temple, that is on the Capitoline Hill in Rome, in the Forum, and it was not only a temple per se, but as many temples in that part of Rome were, they also doubled as uh, state buildings of one sort or another. There were all kinds of state archives and things of that nature that were also housed in the Temple of Saturn. And the uh, the reason that I wanted to bring this stuff up about Saturn today on Quick Classics is because again it's sort of dovetailing with what Derek has been doing, and um, uh, Derek has done some excellent research in not only the Saturn Chronos in, but going off of what was also known in antiquity about his other identities, such as Bel Haman amongst the Carthaginians and the Phoenicians. And it appears Levantine deities like El, the Sumerian Enlil, and the Hurrian Kumarbi. And uh, Derek has really done some good work on bringing this back around to the secret identity of Saturn, being Semyaza, the leader of the apostate angels, the fallen watchers at the Mount Hermon episode. So there's some interesting stuff going on, and there may be something there too, because all of these deities are associated with netherworld cults and even ceremonial apsus or abysses, as they were known in Mesopotamia. Um, uh, in fact, one at I believe it's Urkesh was excavated. This sort of ceremonial netherworld facsimile. Um, and it, of course, the Apsus related to words like Ob in Hebrew, which is the word for demon. And what I think is phonetically interesting here is that Saturn's consort, female consort, and sister was named Ops. So there may be some connection there to some sort of chthonic quality um, that sort of circles back to these ceremonial pits, these facsimiles of the watery netherworld, as it were. So there's some interesting stuff going on here. What I would say is really cutting edge. Now, much like Kronos in the Greek tradition, Saturn in the Roman tradition ruled over the um, a kind of golden age. Ovid talks about this in his poetry and his works. Of course, Hesiod in his works and days in Theogony talks about this period in relation to Kronos. Um, there may be there may be some connection to satyrs, believe it or not, in terms of looking at Saturn's name, because by dropping the "n," you get satyr. The we use the "u," but or "u," excuse me, but that was an upsilon, a Y-shaped vowel that was used by the Greeks. Interestingly enough, satyr in Greek means to sow or to plant a field. So it's kind of interesting. There's some connection, if there are connections to these creatures, the satyrs, as well. That may be true because there were other titans, such as Pallas, who had characteristics or was at least associated with the goat. If you're looking for primary sources to kind of dig into um, Saturn and the cult of Saturn, Plutarch talks a lot about the cult of Saturn itself. There's also some interesting stuff in Pliny where he talks about he describes the statue of Saturn that was bound, whose legs were bound in wool, interestingly enough, just like Washington's legs are in the apotheosis of George Washington. For all the weeks of the year except for the Saturnalia. And that, of course, was the main festival to Saturn between December the 17th and December the 23rd, at which time Roman society was kind of topsy-turvy for a while. The slaves and servants were given a brief period where they could order their masters around to an extent. It was also a feast of libertine extent, which of course was one of the other features of Saturn. And for the Saturnalia, I would recommend Macrobius and his natural history because he talks a little bit about, gives some details about the actual rites and celebration of the Saturnalia. So there you have a picture of the Roman god Saturn and some of the new research that's being done on Saturn. And I hope that this was helpful. And stay tuned, and I'll see you next time on Quick Classics.